Catherine Condy. Debbie Condy, you have 30 seconds to introduce.
Aire Forbartha Polasaí n-Oileán, cá bhfuil sé támuigh fannacht ó gábhílas in Ídeag, chuir a grúpa Aire le chéile, trasranna i gábhílas in Ídeag, seo fiche trí cá bhfuil an Polasaí. Thug tú gealúin sin dom agus don. You gave promises, and I know your heart is in this, and you've shown a commitment to the islands and visited them. Where is the policy for the islands? It's the most basic request to have a policy for the islands, and then work on a work programme and legislation.
Minister.
Deputy Aire. As the Deputy will be aware, the Government is committed to publishing an islands policy in line with the Programme for Government commitment and the commitments made in our rural future. I received a draft of the policy before Christmas. While it's clear that a lot of work has been done in getting the draft policy to this stage, I believe there's more work needed to firm up the text and, more importantly, the actions. I've committed to publishing an action plan along with the policy, as I did with the Rural Development Policy, our rural future, and we can see the difference that is making across the country, transforming our rural communities, towns and villages, and I want to make sure that we do the same thing for our islands. As Minister with responsibility for the islands, I am determined to ensure the policy is delivered. Our island communities have been waiting a long time for this policy, and I'm not going to settle for more of the same from state bodies if that doesn't deliver anything better for the islands. I want to see them committing to meaningful actions in this plan. And on that basis, I have gone back to my officials. I've asked them to re-engage with colleagues across government departments and agencies to revisit the document and make sure that this islands policy is accompanied with a robust action plan. And I'm determined that this policy will be finalised as soon as possible so that I can bring it to government for approval and get it published. But I won't do that until I'm satisfied that it contains credible actions that will make a difference to our island communities.
Thanks very much, Minister. And I welcome your dedication, and I welcome that you want an action plan. But you can forgive my cynicism, but more importantly, the cynicism of the islanders who've waited a long time. We've had interdepartmental reports before. That's what led me to put the motion before the Dáil, which was accepted by the majority back in 19. And so this is very serious that you're not happy with what you've been given. Am I to take that from this, that it wasn't strong enough? Is that the actual plan? Or is that the action plan, or is that the policy that you weren't happy with? Perhaps you could clarify that, and perhaps you clarify what it is you're unhappy with. Is it not specific enough? As it happens by default, I saw a programme last night, most unusual for me, T.G. Cahir, on a return to the islands, the Arnmore in Donegal and Arden off the coast of Galway. And despite all of the obstacles that they're facing, they're still attracting people back. And what we want here is government policy, action and legislation to underpin that.
Minister.
Thanks, Deputy. And in fairness, you have asked me about this island policy a lot. And there has been extensive consultation on it. And we have the policy. But policy's fine, you need the actions. You know, I want to hold other departments to account. I don't want this fancy flowery language. I want time-bound actions so that when departments say they're going to do something, that they do it. And from my experience, the only way you keep other departments' toes to the fire is that when you get it down in writing, and I will be meeting with ministers in the various departments. That's my plan. I know my officials have been meeting with other departments, and I just want to make sure that we tie them down, that when you say you're going to do it, I want to know when you're going to do it, and we want a delivery date on it. And in fairness, you know that our rural future is a policy and with actions every year on it. And it is working, and I am holding departments to account. You know, as you said, Deputy, I have shown my commitment to the islands. I was the first Minister for Social Protection for many, many years to increase the islands allowance in my first budget in the department. If you go up to Donegal, there was a long-running issue up there in terms of the roads on the islands. They were in terrible repair. And I worked with the island communities up there. I worked with Donegal County Council, and the roads on some of the islands there have actually been transformed. If you get a chance to travel out to the lighthouse on Aranmore and ask the communities the difference that has made to them. Sorry. Thank you, Cahirlock.
Gormacht, Minister, you see, the problem is that the reason I brought the motion and people before me is because of the crisis in relation to the population. And of the 30 islands, 8 are in the Gaeltacht area, and they contain 70% of the population. So on so many levels, the Irish language sustainability, Irish or English, the sustainability of the islands, that's why we put the focus of the government on this. It has taken many years. Can you not publish the policy? If you can't publish it now because you're waiting on the action plan, can you give us a date for that? Because it's very worrying when you see something like as soon as possible. Yeah, will be finalised as soon as possible. So I have a library now of answers, and actually that's the weakest one, except that you're saying I'm not happy, which is a clear message, and you want stronger action. I welcome that. But we haven't even got to the point of underpinning the policy with legislation, which they've done in Scotland, where the population has increased on the islands because they have a policy, an action plan and legislation.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I have the policy, but I need the actions. And there are a number of departments that are critical here. We all know them. I met n-Oileán na hÉireann. The issues around planning, water, sewerage and water, education and health. We know we need more nurses, GPs, but specifically nurses, I think, primary care, services for older people. There's loads of things there that I want to... I've been doing a lot from my department, in fairness. And, you know, you go to places like Clare Island, we're trialling a new initiative in areas like e-health. I'm doing other things on other islands. So I'm trying to do the best I can in terms of my department. And as part of this new policy, I want other ministers to do the same. And I want to use this policy to hold other departments to account and for their actions on the islands, whether, as I said, housing, education or health services. So it has to be a whole of government policy. And I think this, I know this will be the first policy in 26 years. And you asked me the timeline. I hope to have it, let's say, well done in Q2. So it'll be, or earlier. I really am now. I can give you my word on this. This is a priority for me. I want it delivered, and I want it delivered within, let's say, within the next 2 months. Okay?
Yes, sir. We now move to question